Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a special guide video on the upcoming Selective 4 stars for patch 2.4. As we can see in the background behind me, there's going to be 8 4 stars that we can select in patch 2.4. And this video will go through those characters in details as regards to the elements, the constellations, and also a different variety of builds that we can look into those characters. I have written some of the notes we should consider as we chose those 4-star characters, and some are pretty interesting, because if you get a new 4-star character, you can get 3 free wishes, because in the game if you ascend the characters, you can get the wishes as to their quantum fate, and that's something important to consider. So if you don't have the characters, you can consider the new characters, up to 21 wishes if you don't have any of the 7 new characters. Now, if we keep going, for picking new 4-star characters, we can look into different methods for that. We'll go through the tips. And after that, we'll look into the comparison of the constellations. Because some of us might have a few copies of those characters. Which constellation is the most valuable for each of the characters? And how do we use those characters? So the comparison is going to be between some special constellations like C1, C4, or C6. And also, what happens when you have the duplication of the characters after Constellation 6? This is quite important, because you actually get 1 free wish each time you get over Constellation 6. I know someone actually did that. And finally, we'll talk about the best teams for those 4-star characters and the overall review for those 4-star characters. So I really want to give you guys a guide for picking those characters, and let's go through this one together. Now, I'm sure most of us have seen the live stream about 8 selective 4 stars for patch 2.4, including the latest new character Eugene. So this video, I want to make a guide for you guys to talk about which character we can select and the reasons behind that. The first option we want to consider, of course, is that there is a new 4-star character, and this equals to 3 wishes. If you guys not sure what I mean by that, so let's come on over to the character selection, and you know that as Ascension level 20, Ascension level 50, and also Ascension level 70, you will get a free Quantum Fate. So together with this, each new 4-star character equals to 3 free wishes. Well, at least a Quantum Fate. And having a new character on the team means you have a new playstyle, different team compositions. So this is the first thing to consider. If you don't have any of the characters on this particular selection list, which of the new 4 stars do you want? Because they also come with free wishes. So it is quite interesting because other than Shaolin, all of those other characters are usually not free. So if you don't have any of them, you can get up to 21 wishes if you get all of them and go for the level 70. I know it's a little far-fetched, but usually most of us don't have Eugene, right? So this means if you pick Eugene, you get 3 free wishes. And we do want to compare the validity of this because, we're comparing 3 free wishes compared to the constellations. Sometimes players might just want to go for more wishes. Sometimes players want to go for constellations. So it's important to keep in mind of this as we go through this particular guide. Now, on the topic of picking new 4-star characters, I do want to give you guys a small tip. Because as we wish on the new banners or the standard banner, we should try to go for those first before picking a 4-star character we don't have. Because there's a chance that we might find those characters as we wish on the banners. Then one can readjust our decisions which character to pick. Maybe this time we'll go for Constellations, because you have found your 4-star character. So make sure you always wish first on the banners, then pick the character you wanted. Because you don't have to pick right away. I do believe usually for those events, you have about, I think 10 days, usually 10 days to pick those characters. So you don't have to pick right away. The 10 days period for you to select, you might get the character you're looking for. And then you can consider the constellations. Now, as we're talking about constellations, let's go through the constellations of all of those characters. So I have listed all the characters over here by the element, and also we'll look into the constellations, which are the most valuable and which changes the character from a support into a DPS. So over here, we'll be going through the constellation of the characters by the order as shown on the live stream. We don't have the exact constellation of Eugene, but I'll give you guys a rough idea of her. So the first character we have is going to be Xinqiu. And as you can see over here, we have the Xinqiu constellation listed over here. What we're looking for the constellation of characters is how flexible it is and how powerful the character become after Constellation 4 and also Constellation 6. Usually the biggest changes for 4-star characters is Constellation 4 and 6. So as for Xinqiu, the reduce of Hydra resistance is really good. After that, a bit of increased damage and also additional sword plus regeneration of energy for Xinqiu at Constellation 6 is very good. So I'm looking at Constellation 2 for Hydra reduction to resistance. And this can help with Chao, this can help, any of the Hydra characters like Mona. And Constellation 6 actually makes Xinqiu a very valuable support because his biggest highlight is his burst ultimate. And having his burst ultimate with additional sword and also regenerating energy, it means that he can be a very consistent support at Constellation 6. And I do rate him quite highly if you can get him to Constellation 6. And even before that, he is one of the top tier support. As we're going to see on the second part, there's going to be a lot of build for Xingqiu. So he is definitely a good character to start with if you don't have him or if you plan to go for any of the 4 stars to Constellation 6. Now the second character on the list is going to be Yujing. We don't have the exact constellations, but I had a quick, rough idea of her. She will be increasing the normal attack of characters by about 15%, I believe, and she'll increase the attack speed of the team member characters by about 10 to 12%. And I do believe that's around Constellation 2 and Constellation 6. So she is another great support character, Yujing, and it is likely her Constellation 6 will be a tremendous help for characters who want to deal normal attack. Like Ito, like Xiao, any of the characters that excels in normal attack, even Child, can benefit from her. And I do believe her Constellation 6 is going to be very good. So similar to Xingqiu, but unlike him, who is going to benefit from mana gain, she is going to benefit the whole team with attack speed and also normal attack increase. Now coming over to the next character, which is going to be Bidu. Now personally, I'm not a Bidu expert, and looking at her constellations, I do think it is more targeted towards Bidu herself doing more damage. So unlike Xingqiu, and also unlike, the other characters like Yujing, who benefits the team and who becomes a better support, Bidu over here does have more varieties in doing damage and also, a bit of the shield absorption, a bit of the increased damage. But I think Constellation 6, she will reduce the electric resistance of surrounding enemies, but it has to be during the duration of her spells. So she is more of a, I won't say selfish, she is more of a single effective character, and I don't think her Constellation 6 is very effective. For me, because I'm not a big Bidu player, I think Constellation 1 is not bad because you do get a particular shield, and this makes her more durable. But as for the most other constellations, I don't think they're as effective compared to the other characters. So I actually wouldn't recommend going for high concentration of Bidu unless you have other characters pretty maxed out. Now next character is going to be Xiaoling. Xiaoling is actually one of the power characters that is very popular. She is one of the first 3 characters if you unlock the Spire Abuse, I believe, to Chamber of Floor 3. And Xiaoling have a variety of buffs to Pyro characters and also to the team. Now, Xiaoling's particular spell and also Xiaoling's passive is really good. Xiaoling's passive actually gives 10% attack when you pick up the chili pepper that she drops. After that, she will reduce the resistance of Pyro enemies, and also she will increase the Pyro damage at Constellation 6. So Xiaoling is a perfect Pyro support if you don't have someone like Bernard, or if you don't have someone that fits on the team for another second Pyro. Because having 2 Pyro characters, you increase the whole team's attack. And then having 2 power characters like someone like Klee or maybe the Luke, you can also increase the damage by reducing enemies' resistance at Constellation 1 and also further increase your team's damage at Constellation 6 with more pyro damage. Personally, I do think it is quite easier to get Xiaoling. She has appeared in many of the banners, and although her Constellation 6 does increase 15% pyro damage, it is not as dramatic as Xingqiu and not as dramatic as Yujing compared to those 2 characters. So I'll rank Xiaoling a little lower than Xingqiu, but she's definitely better than Bidu for going for Constellation 6. Usually Constellation 1 Xiaoling is pretty good. I don't think we need anything from Constellation 4 or 5, only Constellation 1 and Constellation 6, I think that will be really good for her. Now next character is going to be Negron, and Negron is going to be the character of highlight in patch 2.4, and she is also going to have the, she's going to have a special skin, and I'm sure some of the players or maybe lots of players will be building her because of the skin and because how great the Geo characters are becoming. Personally, again, similar to Bidu, I haven't, leveled up my Negron or played her a lot, so I wouldn't say I'm the expert for Negron. But looking at her constellations, Negron, very similar to Bidu, is a more selfish character who wants to get her skills up for her abilities. Now the combination of Negron can be very powerful. I have seen Negron hitting over 10,000 damage with each of her attacks, and her burst ultimate can easily go about 70-100,000 damage, especially with the highest constellations. Now the Jade Stars and also the combination of Negron is quite interesting, because her spells will interact with having the Jade Stars and also having the charge attack which consumes the Jade Stars. And if Negron have any of the stars at the start of her charge attack, she will deal additional damage. And so Constellation 6 for Nguyen actually is quite a bit of game changer, because she will gain 7 J stars, which guarantees her to deal more bonus damage. Now, Nguyen also says that she will increase the nearby character's resistance by 10%, which is not a big factor. So I personally think Nguyen, as the high Constellation goes, having the second Constellation is quite critical, because when the jet screen shatters, its cooldown resets, and this can be quite good. Because having the jet screen gives you more variety, you can be defensive, you can be offensive by shooting through the screen. And finally, having Constellation 6 with Nguyen definitely boosts her burst damage. So personally, I think Constellation 2 and 6 is pretty good for Nguyen, but compared to the other supporting characters like Yujing and Xinchu, I still think they excel a little higher because Xinchu is more flexible. We'll see how many teams have Xinchu as well very soon. Now the next character we have is going to be Xingyan. Now Xingyan, as one of the characters compared to the other characters, I do think Xingyan is more focused on herself again. It's less focused on the team. As we can see, she will gain increased attack speed, she will gain, a bit of increased critical rate increase, and then she will gain the decreased stamina consumption. So I don't see any particular benefits to Xingyan other than the Constellation 4, which reduced the opponent's physical resistance by 15%. I mean, it is not massive, but Xingyan also provide additional, increase of physical damage. So if you're running Xingyan as a physical support, this can be good. So, going for Constellation 4 for Xingyan, if you already have her as a support, this can benefit your team for physical damage dealing. And usually for physical damage, you want a cryo character, you want an electro character, and Xingyan can be your shield character and also the physical buff. Coming over to the next character, which is going to be Yanfei. Now, where did Yanfei go? Let me have a look. So Yanfei is over here. I do think Yanfei actually have the greatest potential in those lists of characters. Because surprisingly enough, guys, Yanfei's Constellation 4 is one of the best constellations used by Chinese players to use her as a healer and as a shielder. Now, how it works is, Yanfei at Constellation 4 will give you her maximum HP as a shield of 45% of the maximum HP. Okay, that's a little confusing. So if Yanfei have about 30,000 HP, she will give a shield close to, 14,000 HP. And this is, almost as good as, Zhongli's shield. But of course, Yanfei has to cast her burst spells by having this shield. And her burst spell is about 80 energy. So you can build Yanfei for energy gain and also maximum HP. And get her as high energy as you can and as high HP as you can. And this allows her to constantly buff your team with a shield. Now there's also something a little more to that. I believe the prototype Ember, or did they change the name of this catalyst? So this is a craftable catalyst. So when you use the elemental burst, you will regenerate energy for yourself, which Yanfei do want because her cost of burst spell is 80 energy. She'll also heal the whole team for about maximum 6% of HP per second, and this goes 3 ticks. So 18% of heal for the whole team of the maximum HP is very good. So the Chinese players on the servers, Yanfei is one of the most used healing support because she uses a prototype that heals the team by casting her burst spell, and that's a craftable prototype. And by building her with maximum HP and energy gain, she is actually a very good support as to, a budget Zhongli. Because Zhongli doesn't heal, right? But Yanfei not only gives you a shield, but she also heals. So this is one of the best Constellation 4 that I want to, highlight to you guys. And a lot of players, even, our viewers are saying, Yanfei is so good, you got to talk about her. So yeah, she is quite interesting. I mean, we're not using her as a DPS, so most of the other skills won't be as, good. But having her as Constellation 4, that's all you needed, and she's quite incredible if you run her with double pile as one of the healing and also shielding support. Now coming over to a final character of the Selective 4 stars, and this one will be Chuyan. Chuyan is one of my favorite supporting 4 stars. Not only does he increase the team's melee attack by 8%, Chuyan also have a variety of spells that helps the team. So coming over to Chuyan's Constellations, his Constellation 2 and Constellation 6 makes him quite interesting. Because Chuyan is one of the only characters that lowers the cooldown of friendly ally characters. And this is the best Constellation 2 in the game, I think, because most characters don't have cooldown reduction unless you have 2 animal characters. But if you cast spells within Chuyan's Elemental E spell, which is a big circle that increases your attack speed, you also lowers your cooldown by 15 seconds. Not by 15 seconds, by 15%. By 15 seconds, that'll be ridiculous. So by 15% is not bad because you can combine that with animal characters and also with your constellations to reduce more cooldown. So Chuyan is one of the most highlighted for flexibility and also utility for attack speed and also cooldown reduction. On top of that, if you get Chunyang to Constellation 6, he will be doing additional damage for 15% if the percentage of the remaining HP is lower than Chunyang, and Chunyang also gains an additional blade. And this allows Chunyang to go from a supporting cryo character to become a DPS cryo character, and this is quite interesting. So I do want to highlight Constellation 6 turns Chunyang into a support into a cryo DPS. And because some of us might be rolling for Shenhe, which is a new cryo supporting 5-star, she could be supporting Chunyang. So the two supporting characters can support each other. On top of that, Chunyang can also become a DPS when he gets to Constellation 6. And because it's likely Chunyang will be on the banner for her, so there's a high chance of us getting over Constellation 2. And if you do get over to Constellation 6, he will be very powerful with the burst spells, which hits quite a bit with 4 of those swords. Now, we did mention that we also want to have a look at the flexibility of the 4-star characters to be on a team. So over here, I have found a number of teams for different characters, and we'll just have a rough look at this. So what I do want to highlight is, look at how many times Xingqiu have appeared in most of the teams, similar to Burnett. Those two characters seems to be the most popular, because Burnett heals, Burnett increase damage, and while Xingqiu will increase, he will give a bit of damage reduction, he will give a bit of healing, he will increase your damage, and also work with the pyro characters. Xingqiu and Burnett are two of the top characters in the game. There's also characters like Negon that can fit into a Geo party, but those characters are more isolated in their own element. So this is why I want to come over to you guys to give you guys a small preference summary as to myself. If you want a new character, of course, Yujin will be the character of choice, because she will give 3 free wishes. If you don't have Negon, I do recommend getting Negon because you'll be getting her new skin. Now, if you do already have the existing characters, and you might have wished for Yujin already, then the top characters to pick from will be considering your team synergies. If you do have a Pyro character that is 5-star, or if you ever have a Pyro DPS, I strongly recommend getting Xingqiu to Constellation 6 because he is very powerful with additional energy and also additional sword. After that, if you're looking for a shielding character that can also heal with a prototype, you can go with Constellation 4 on Yanfei, which is very good. Chunyang with Constellation 2 is very good, and also Xiaoling, if you're going for a Pyro character, getting her to Constellation 6 is not bad. Finally, if you're going for physical damage reduction with Xingyan, then she can go for Constellation 4. As for Beidou, I'm not too sure. I don't think we're going to go with her with higher constellations. And as for Yujin, I do believe her Constellation 6 will give her increased attack speed for the whole team. So the preference for me is definitely, do you want new characters for 3 wishes? Do you want Negon for the skin? Or do you want someone that can last for a long time? So I recommend to going with Xingqiu for Constellation 6, Yanfei with Constellation 4, and also finally Chunyang for Constellation 2. And let me know what you guys think about those characters, and which of the 4-star characters would you choose for the selective 4-stars. Now, before we finish the video, I also remembered one of my viewers was telling me he actually picked a repeating 4-star character after having maximum constellations. So he probably already have, 6 of those characters. Let's say he already have 6 Negon. Then he picked one more Negon. And that was pretty bizarre why he do that. So he mentioned that if you have a duplicate character with maximum constellation, you'll be getting 5 of the master list star glinters. So what those things do is, I just want to tell you guys, this is not recommended, but it is an option. I'll highlight the option with you guys. It's up to you guys. So what he mentions is that he will get 5 of the star glinters, and this will give him 1 more wish with Intertwined Fate. So it's like a little refund. So basically, instead of getting a character that he likely won't use for the constellations, the last time was patch 1.3, so we didn't have a new character. So last time he actually went for 1 more constellation, which equals to 160 primal gems. So you can turn that even into a little bonus primal gems. But if you're going for more wishes, I still recommend getting a new character like Yujin, because she will give 3 wishes, right? I'll leave you guys to it, and hopefully you guys find this guide video helpful, and best of luck in patch 2.4, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and also turn the little bell on for the latest news. I'll be looking towards to make more builds, guides, tips, and news and event updates for us as we come further into the game. And as always, I wish you guys the best of luck with Genshin and have the most fun in exploring this wonderful world.